Good morning, champions. I want you to look at the person in the mirror and say, I am more than what I've become. Because deep inside you, yes, you, there's a version that the world hasn't seen yet. A version that's stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. That's the real you. And it's time to unlock that power. You were not born to be average. You were born to impact, to inspire, to lead, and to change the game. But here's the truth. Most people never tap into their true power because they're too busy trying to fit in, too afraid of failing, too consumed by the opinions of people who don't believe in themselves. But you're not most people. Your power doesn't come from your bank account, your job title, or your past. It comes from your belief, your resilience, your vision. It comes from what you decide to do when life slams you down and dares you to stay there. You've got to rise up, look at your situation, and declare,
This will not break me.
This will make me. You were not meant to shrink. You were built to stretch, to evolve, to fight. You've been through storms that should have drowned you, but you're still here. That means you've got work to do. There's a dream inside you that didn't die. It's waiting, whispering, unlock me. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. What you need is courage. So today, right now, I dare you to stop waiting for the right moment and become the moment. I dare you to stop doubting and start doing. I dare you to walk in rooms like you belong there. Because youdo. It's time to stop living on pause and start living with power. Your story isn't over. In fact, it's just getting started. Let's go. Most people live their entire lives trapped within the limits of who they believe they are. They've been told they're not smart enough, not talented enough, not connected enough. And over time, they start believing it. But here's the truth. Those limitations were never yours. They were handed to you by people who gave up on their own dreams. Just because someone couldn't see your value doesn't mean it's not there. You were born with greatness, wired for excellence, and built for something bigger than ordinary. See, inside of you is a version of yourself that's stronger, braver, and more gifted than you've ever allowed yourself to become. That version is locked behind self-doubt, behind fear, behind every time you talked yourself out of a dream. You were never meant to play small. But somewhere along the way, life handed you setbacks, heartbreaks, and disappointments, and you started to shrink. You started surviving instead of thriving. But surviving isn't living. That untapped power in you, it's still there, waiting, and it's time to wake it up. You've got talents you haven't touched, ideas you haven't spoken, courage you haven't tapped. Some of the greatest things about you have never seen the light of day, not because they don't exist, but because you've been too busy hiding behind a version of yourself that makes others comfortable. You weren't born to fit into the world. You were born to shift it. But first, you must start seeing yourself for who you can be, not just who you've been told you are. The reason you feel unsettled, unfulfilled, or stuck is not because you're lacking. It's because you're not fully aligned with your power. There's something inside of you that knows you were made for more. That whisper you hear late at night, that fire in your belly when you think about your dreams, that's your true self trying to break free. Don't ignore it. Feed it. Honor it. Because the moment you start believing you are more, you'll start becoming more. And once you unlock even a piece of that true power, there is no limit to what you can become. One of the greatest prisons we build for ourselves is the need for validation. We shape our lives trying to fit into boxes that other people made. Parents, teachers, friends, even strangers. And slowly, we start living for applause instead of purpose. But here's the hard truth. You'll never become who you're meant to be by trying to keep everyone else comfortable. Approval is addictive, and once you depend on it, you give people the power to control how high you rise or how far you fall. You were not put on this earth to be liked. You were put here to be real, to be authentic, to live the truth that burns in your bones. Every time you shrink to fit into someone else's version of you, you betray the real you inside. That quiet voice that says, "Go for it," gets drowned out by the louder one that asks, "But what will they think?" The tragedy is, most of the people you're trying to impress aren't even watching. And even if they are, their opinion doesn't pay your bills, doesn't build your dreams, and doesn't walk in your shoes. When you live for approval, you're constantly chasing a moving target. You'll never be enough for everyone, not because you're lacking, but because everyone's expectations are rooted in their own fears and limitations. The person who told you to be realistic was afraid of being rejected. The person who said, "That won't work," never tried it themselves. When you seek their approval, you inherit their fear. And fear is the enemy of power. You can't soar if you keep asking for permission to take off. The moment you decide to live on your terms, fully, unapologetically, something changes. People might question you. Some might even walk away. Let them, because what's waiting on the other side of approval is freedom. Real freedom. The kind that doesn't care who claps, who criticizes, or who can't understand your fire. You weren't born to follow, you were born to lead. And leaders don't need permission. They move first. and the world catches up later. Pain is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's the fire that forges your strength, the pressure that forms your character, the storm that forces you to grow roots. We spend so much of our lives running from pain, numbing it, hiding it, pretending it doesn't hurt. But what if I told you that your pain is the very thing trying to unlock the next level of you? That the darkest moments of your life didn't come to destroy you. They came to develop you. You didn't go through heartbreak, betrayal, loss, or failure for nothing. Those weren't accidents. They were assignments. Pain has a purpose, but only if you stop running from it and start listening to it. Inside every scar is a story, and inside every story is power. The problem is, most people stop at the pain and never push through to the lesson. But when you do, when you face it, feel it, and fight through it, something shifts in you. You don't just survive, you evolve. Some of the strongest people you will ever meet are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who kept showing up even when their world was falling apart. They're the ones who used the same bricks that were thrown at them to build something unshakable. You have that same strength. You've made it through things that should have broken you, yet here you are. That's not weakness. That's proof. That's evidence that the power in you is real, and it's rising. Stop waiting for a painless path. It doesn't exist. Greatness is forged in fire, and the pain you feel today could be the reason someone else finds hope tomorrow. Your testimony will be someone's survival guide. But first you have to own it. You have to look pain in the face and say, "You don't control me. You created me." Every tear, every setback, every lonely night, it was building the version of you who refuses to quit. That version, that's the real you. Your life will never rise higher than your belief system. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how many degrees you hold, or how many resources you have. If you don't believe it's possible for you, it won't be. Period. The most dangerous limitations are not the ones placed on you by the world. They're the ones you place on yourself. What you believe about who you are and what you deserve forms the boundaries of your reality. If you keep telling yourself you're not enough, you'll live a life that reflects that lie. Your belief is the blueprint your mind uses to build your world. If the blueprint is flawed, the structure will be weak, even if the materials are strong. That's why two people can go through the same struggle, but one rises while the other breaks. It's not luck, it's belief. One believes this is the end. The other believes this is the beginning of something greater. That shift in mindset changes everything. Your circumstances don't define you. Your conviction does. You have to start speaking to yourself like your life depends on it. Because it does. The words you feed your mind become the walls around your future. If you keep repeating, "I can't," your brain will find 1,000 reasons why that's true. But if you start saying, "I will," your mind will open up to new paths, new strategies, and new strength. It's not about being delusional. It's about being determined. Determined to rewrite the script that doubt has been playing on repeat in your head. Every breakthrough begins in belief. The people who build legacies, shift generations, and shatter ceilings didn't start with guarantees. They started with belief. They chose to trust in something they couldn't yet see, and they kept walking until the vision became reality. You've got to do the same. It won't always make sense. It won't always feel possible. But if you can believe it, you can build it. That power, that faith, starts with how you see yourself. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is, "I'll start tomorrow." Tomorrow is the enemy of progress, the graveyard of dreams. The truth is, there is no perfect moment. There is only now. Every time you delay, every time you wait for more confidence, more clarity, more confirmation, you lose ground. Success doesn't come to the most qualified. It comes to the most committed. The ones who decide, "I may not have all the answers, but I'm moving anyway." You don't have to feel ready to take action. Bold action isn't about certainty. It's about courage. You've got to move while your knees are shaking, while your voice is trembling, while your heart is pounding. Fear is not a sign to stop. It's a signal that you're stepping into something bigger than where you've been. Every breakthrough begins with a decision to start, even if the path ahead is unclear. Boldness has a power to it. It cracks open doors you didn't even know existed. People waste years waiting for the right time. But the right time is created, not found. It's made in the moment you stop stalling and start acting. Stop rehearsing your potential and start releasing it. You don't need more motivation. You need movement. You don't need more information. You need execution. Every time you act, you send a message to life. I'm serious about this. And life responds to that energy with opportunity, with momentum, with force. The greatest shifts in your life won't come from overthinking. They'll come from stepping. Stepping when you're scared. Stepping when they say you can't. Stepping when everything in you says, "Play it safe." You have to be willing to do what others won't so you can live how others can't. If you want to rise, you've got to move. You've got to break the cycle of hesitation and step into the version of you that takes charge. That version is ready. Not someday, but right now. There's a reason you were born with your story, your struggles, your scars, because somebody needs what only you can give. Your purpose is not an accident. It's not a random spark of inspiration. It's a calling. And that calling isn't just for you. It's connected to someone else's breakthrough. But here's the truth. Purpose can't breathe in silence. It needs your voice. It needs your presence. It needs your yes. The world is waiting for you to stop hiding and start speaking with power. You don't have to be perfect to walk in your purpose. You just have to be honest. You have to be real. People aren't looking for polished. They're looking for truth. They're looking for someone to show up raw and say, "I've been through it, but I'm still here." That kind of voice doesn't just inspire. It heals. And every time you open your mouth and speak from that deep, authentic place, you light a fire in someone else who thought they were alone in the dark. Your voice has weight. It has the power to shift rooms, challenge thinking, disrupt complacency, and birth movements. But it won't do any of that if you stay quiet. Playing small doesn't serve the world. Dimming your light doesn't protect people. It deprives them. There's somebody watching you who needs to know it's okay to rise, okay to fight, okay to dream again. And they won't know it's possible unless you show them what it looks like. When you withhold your voice, you withhold your impact. The message inside you isn't meant to be locked away. It's meant to flow, to speak life, to change lives. Maybe you've told yourself, "Who am I to inspire anyone?" Let me tell you who you are. You're a survivor, a dreamer, a fighter, a miracle in motion. And your voice, your truth, could be the spark that sets someone else's purpose on fire. But only if you choose to speak, only if you choose to stand up and let the world hear what you've been carrying in silence for far too long. So here we are. You've seen the truth. You've felt the pull. You've been reminded of what's inside you. Not weakness, not fear, not doubt, but power. Real power. The kind that doesn't come from outside approval, but from deep within your soul. The kind that isn't shaken by setbacks, but shaped by them. The kind that turns pain into fuel, belief into breakthroughs, and bold action into unstoppable momentum. No more waiting. No more hiding. No more playing small to make others comfortable. This is your time. Not next year. Not someday. Now. There's a version of you that's been trapped behind fear, behind delay, behind what ifs. And today, you break the chains. Today, you step into your assignment. Today, you stop asking for permission and start living like the powerful force you were born to be. The world doesn't need another copy, another echo, another person sleepwalking through life. The world needs you. Raw, real, and fully awake. It needs your voice, your passion, your leadership. Someone is waiting on the other side of your courage to discover their own, and they'll never find it unless you go first. So rise up, stand tall, speak loud, move forward. Your power has been locked up for too long. Now it's time to unleash it. This is your moment. This is your mission. And from this day forward, you don't just talk about power. You walk in it. Let's go!